phone is gonna die. Batteries are so incredibly dramatic. They die. Batteries die. Great way to start a live, Marco. Batteries die. Everything else just breaks, but batteries actually die. Good morning, Carrie. Having a little bit of a loopy morning. I had my partner's, I guess you could call it a baby shower, although it was more like a Beltane blessing with friends, and it was incredible. We had a wonderful time. I have some really amazing friends and people in my life that I'm super grateful for. And because of that, yesterday was a big energy day for me. As a reflector, big energy days, I really only want to do, I only want to do them like once or twice a year. I can do them more, but my preferred is that like 2 or 3 times a year are like big energy days. By big energy days, I mean like I'm in charge of orchestrating something like you could imagine like a retreat or a event like this, like a celebration for our second child and fertility. Um, Big days like that, and they're wonderful. It was wonderful, and it makes me realize like the only reason I'm able to do that is because I actually want to do that. I don't put myself in a situation where I have to do that more than I want to. And because of that, the times that I do get to do it, it's like I actually get to do it and I don't have I say a gripe about it. But I am somewhat more tired today than I usually am. Um, because we went so hard. We had the wildest brunch spread, some absolutely delicious dinner. Midway through, and I'll share what kind of the idea behind it was because I think it's something that, of course, a lot of y'all are gonna appreciate. Basically, my partner is pregnant with our second child, and instead of doing a baby shower, my partner wanted to celebrate Beltane, which is it's a Celtic tradition of fertility, May Day. You know, where they're like spinning around the pole. We didn't do that. That would have been cool and a little culty, which would have been cool. Um, but we didn't do that. We basically just spent the entire day or the morning having breakfast. And then the men left. They came back here to my property or the property that I'm living on. And we can't hear the rooster. That's funny. And then we did some yard work here, land work with the boys, while the women did women things, fairy crowns, candle making, um, uh, wand making, being soft and womanly. And then we came back together and all had started a fire and ate some food. And it was great. And it was so simple. And the reason I share it was because one of my partner's intentions was to, instead of making the baby shower all about her, she made it about fertility. She made it about the fact that a woman can get pregnant and that a man has a different role in fertility than women do. And it's funny because the work that we were doing here on the land was literally prepping the land for some garden beds that are going to go in. We're going to grow some food, some more food here, and it was a beautiful honoring of just fertility in general. Not, and it was obviously she's super pregnant and hasn't seen a lot of people, and it just really feeling got me really feeling how important these natural rhythms are for us as human beings, and how important it is to celebrate those natural rhythms. Not necessarily because they are traditions of old and we're expected to celebrate them, but because this is literally where the support comes from. And yesterday I got to see my support physically come through in preparation for our child coming through. And a lot of the nerves that I've had around having a second child, and that, like, oh my God, it's going to be like the first time, but even harder. Um, it was really beautiful. So I got to feel the support of all my friends, and it was really sweet. and I really enjoyed it. And it was like I said, it was I've never experienced a quote unquote baby shower that gave so much reverence more so to the source of fertility, which is the land and nature and our genderfied bodies, the source of nature as opposed to, or the source of fertility as opposed to a woman's embodiment of it. Not that that's not worth celebration. However, fertility shows up in a lot of different places, in a lot of different things, in creativity. And if you look at human design, fertility is in the sacral, which is sexual and creative energy. So it's the creative energy that was being celebrated, and the men got to participate in our own way in preparing the land. And so this is just a little glimpse into my personal life when I'm not just like ranting about human design. Although so much of what I do with human design is here to sort of parallel that same celebration, which would be to, instead of worshiping the embodiment of creativity or solar plex, or emotion or safety, why don't we look at the source of it, which is the world around us? And instead of trying to dominate the world around us, what if we became more attuned to the world around us? Because maybe, just maybe, we might be happier, healthier, more peaceful if we allowed ourselves to adapt to the environment rather than constantly trying to adapt the environment to suit our needs. Love to hear your perspective of life. Can't wait for the post arrival update. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mother Gaia. Yeah, Mother Gaia, Father Sky. Like we have these parents, so to speak, in terms of the masculine force and the feminine force, that oftentimes don't really get the recognition that they deserve because there are middlemen nowadays. And basically, I had a good time yesterday. I had some breakfast with my family, which I don't usually eat breakfast in the morning. However, today felt like a breakfast day, and now we're gonna have some tea. So I got some. This is the raw pu'er that I've been drinking because I literally just love this tea so much. And it was also, this tea was for my friend's, the birth of my friend's daughter. So it's kind of relevant, I guess you could say. It's relevant that I'm drinking this tea because I'm going to have another little child here soon. I don't know what it's going to be. That's another thing that we're not doing in our pregnancy is we don't want to know the gender of the baby. Um, just because it's like, what if they want to change it before they come out? Yeah, there's so many reasons why we're not doing that. One of them is that um, it just seems so like, you know, ripping open the surprise before it's time to know. And the magic of not knowing, that a lot of people confuse as the anxiety, like they're, oh, I just want to know so I can figure out what toys to buy them. I'm like, bro, just be patient. Be patient. And I've had to tell some of my family members, they're like, why don't you go figure out what kind of baby you're having? And I'm like, because I don't want to. I'm like, oh, but don't you want to know how to prepare for the child? I'm like, it's gonna need to poop, eat, drink milk, and be soothed a lot. Like that's what the child's gonna do. If you wanna, anyone can do whatever they want with their children. It's a free country for the most part. Um, and if you want to figure out the sex of your baby, go for it. I don't want to. So anyway, yeah, surprises can be so fun. They're so fun. But the thing about surprise is that if you're not able to wait patiently, because you can wait patiently and then you can wait like impatiently, like neurotically, full and riddled of anxiety and fear and emotion. Or you can wait patiently, which maybe you might have the same level of fear and anxiety and emotion as another person, but because maybe you do stuff like sensory design, like what we teach in the archive, maybe you're able to wait just more patiently. And I tell you, there's been more anxiety, there's been more fear, there's been more emotion around this birth than my first child. However, my body is much more capable of handling all of that pressure and all of that heat. And so that's something that, again, can be applied to any situation at all. So thank you guys for all the excitement around this. All right, let's see what we got in the comments over here. IDK what that is, but looking it up now. Pancakes here and there. Do you know personality sun base number? My personality sun base number? I can go look it up. I'll tell you something, guys. I am not the like learn everything about human design guy. I used to be that. And I used to want to know everything because I attached my value as a teacher, as a human design expert in knowing everything. But I realized that my true value in human design and in all the systems that I study is my curiosity, is my ability to say, oh, I actually don't know. So if I were to go look at my personality sun base, I'm a 3 base. That would answer your question. Um, Again, it's when human design, knowing more about your chart doesn't always equal being more of yourself. Also a 3, Larry? Very cool. What does that mean to you? And another example is like just because somebody else is a reflector and they're excited, like I might be excited that I found a reflector for one reason, and you might be excited that you found a reflector for another reason, which, or a base 3, we should say. As reflectors, it makes us extra yin yin. I'm very yin yin, but I'm like yin yin in the way that like bamboo or horse tails are yin yin in the sense where it's like, or yin yin in the sense of like how Luffy from One Piece is yin yin, that in the sense that he can like stretch himself and be kooky. But that's really cool, Larry. Yeah, what is tell me why else that's really exciting for you. Just curious. What are other ways you embrace surprise as a reflector? I want more surprises in my life as a reflector too. I will surprise people. I will have questions like for instance, if I go out to eat and we're being served, one of my favorite ways to add surprise to my life is to let somebody choose a tip. So sometimes I'll pay with cash, and that's the easiest way to do it because when I pay it cash, let's say the bill is $40 and I have, or let's say the bill is $50 and I have 3 20s, I get $10 in change back, and then I'll ask for the change back in like ones, and then when the server comes back, I'm going to be like, hey, I want to let you choose your own tip. And the surprise on other people's face is absolutely, it's beautiful. It's beautiful because it really helps to show me how much people generally undervalue themselves. Most people are like, oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need to. I'm like, look, I'm going to give you a tip anyway. I'm giving you the opportunity to just pick your own tip. How do you think you did today? So I like to give people an opportunity to self-reflect, and that tipping surprise, letting them choose their own tip. I think I saw it like Grant Cardone do it. And he was like, if the dude said $100,000, I would have put $100,000 down. And so it again, giving for me to give people an opportunity to be surprised by my like I feel like I know what I would tip you, but what would you tip you? And then letting that be but it be a real thing. So anyway, that's one of the ways that I do that. Great question. Base 3, motherly, helping bring people together by nurturing. Stop working, come eat some food. I'm definitely like that. 3 is the body, reminding people to come back to your bodies. Also, definitely like that. Very good. Currently enjoying a defined sacral for over a month, anticipating withdrawal when it's gone. It's really interesting to watch. Sometimes I'll do that. Well, like I'll anticipate, oh, my sacral is going to be defined, and then I'm like, I'm going to have more energy, and then the sacral is defined, and I'm like, I'm just more moody now, or it's totally something else that I experience, which is again another great surprise of like, when I make a plan, I don't get married to it. I just date it until it either shows up or doesn't show up. Hi, Marco. I'm curious about what you have to say about being able to hold fear. I say that I'm pretty fear/anxiety based person, and I wonder what insights you might have related to the sensory mechanics or HD. Portia, fear, anxiety, and moodiness or emotion are in the 3 awareness centers. Fear is in the spleen, generally. Anxiety is in the ajna. Moodiness and emotion are in the solar plexus. Or rather, this is where those sensations arise as a means of getting the right fuel into or not fuel, get the right awareness into those centers. So, for instance, fear arises as a way of alerting us to potential dangers. Anxiety arises within our ajnas to help us create formulas and solutions to solve doubt and confusion, things like that. And then emotions help us to confront the truth, or moodiness or nervousness help us to confront the truth. And so when it comes to everything that we're doing in sensory design, even though we have classes for specific centers, fear can arise in the root, fear can arise in the solar plexus, or as a result of you working on the solar plexus. And so one of the beautiful things about it is that your story, the story you tell yourself, has a bunch of gaps in it. You might be calling something fear that's actually anxiety. You might be calling something anxiety that's actually nervousness and moodiness. And the reality is, whatever you're calling it doesn't matter, because the thing that's blocking out those stories or holding those gaps in the story is your reaction or your pullback to, oh, this isn't right, or this might not be right, I'm not sure, let me check with somebody else. And the more sensory design that you do, it's like the less you care about it being right, and the more you care about it being real, the more you care about being able to be patient and loving. Because the thing about fear is that fear is a totally natural thing, just like anxiety is a totally natural thing. And when you allow yourself, okay, just making sure my tea was hot there. When you allow yourself to embrace the fear without running away or collapsing or feeling the need to fight it, then suddenly the fear becomes a powerful ally. And the thing about the fear is that if you become more deadly, less things are dangerous to you. Like, if let's say, just for me generally speaking, let's say when I was 12 years old, half of the men in the world are dangerous to me. They could beat me up, they could hurt me. So I took martial arts. I use that fear of half the men in the world, because the other half are not dangerous to me, but I develop a body that is not prone to being damaged by other beings. I've therefore eliminated the need for fear because I've increased my potential to defend myself. And so one of the things I say with fear is, like, go take a boxing class, go take a jujitsu class, right? Not necessarily as a means of like becoming an adrenaline junkie, but genuinely discover where you can be damaged by others by engaging in intentional, and martial arts is a very safe way to build a relationship with violence. But essentially it's like you build a relationship with violence and you build a relationship with the ability to exit violence, which means when it comes to spleen and fear, it's like you want to be able to fight more confidently or run away more fast. That wasn't grammatically correct, but whatever. Time for tea. Word, a lot of my work right now is moving away from categorizing like right, wrong, good, bad. Things just are. No more assigning value judgments because they're not real. Well, they're as real as we make them. And when you start diving into sensation, things like pleasure and pain, they start to get, they're actually like very convoluted. Tickling, the feeling of being tickled and laughing versus tickling and feeling pain and crying, it's literally like a decision that you made when you were like 4 or 5 years old. Like, my daughter like hurt her foot, not really that bad, but because there was some, like, oh no, your foot is hurt, or some discomfort, not even like we programmed her and coddled her. It was just like she put some weight on it and she's like, ow, ow, ow. It's her first time ever experiencing like pain in her foot like that. And because of that, she didn't want to walk for like 3 4 days. And then I kept stepping on stuff. I was noticing that the other day. I kept tripping and stepping on things because she was going through it too with her feet. She kept falling. And yeah, so just like remembering that, like, so many of these polarities, like you said, the more that you can navigate them with less of a reactivity, the better off you're going to be, because there's actually so much more sensation involved that is informative. Like, for instance, if you are walking through the forest and you step on a rock, based off where the rock hits you, your body instinctively, reflexively knows how to either roll out of it or to what muscles need to turn off so that I don't puncture my foot or damage myself really bad. Currently working on reshaping that reactivity. Yes, so we go from reactivity, which is fully unconscious, to responsive, which is infusing your own consciousness into what's going on. You're starting to see your reactivity. You're starting to see, oh, I have a choice in how I want to respond to this. And then you become reflexive. And that's the goal, is we start as reflexive beings, and then we become very reactive based off of the reactions of our parents and all the people around us. Like when you're a baby, all you know how to do is cry and poop and breastfeed. That's it. And then at some point you learn how to crawl and walk, and then you learn how to talk back to your parents, and then your parents say, "Don't talk back to me," and you learn, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to talk." Then you start, how you say, responding, say like, "Oh, I don't want mom and dad to talk back to me," and then you just become reactive, because reflexes are natural. Reactivity is something that you're going to pick up. It's over time. So you use your conscious mind to take things from reflexive and natural through the response state to reactive, and then vice versa. And the magic of all this is, like, whether you're reactive or reflexive, the goal is that, again, you can, wherever you're at in that spectrum, you can become more reflexive. But the way you do that is by first training your senses. Then you train your body's ability to hold pressure and heat. Think like the difference between putting hot molten metal into a balloon versus putting it into a cauldron made of cast iron. Most people are balloons living in a world of like molten lava, but you can make yourself into a cast iron thing that can handle heat and pressure. You just have to train that way. And then you can start training athletics. Most people train athletics first. Like, they try to train their reflexes before they start looking at their reactiveness and they start responding. They want to go immediately. I want to go right to the reflexes. I want to be a master right away. I want to learn yoga. I want to learn how to do handstands. I want to learn how to be the best rower, thrower, runner in the world. There's so many people that are training functional movements, but they're not training sensory or behavioral stuff. And because of it, you go from being a slow running asshole to a fast running asshole. And it's unfortunate, but a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people are feel weak, so they make their bodies strong, but they don't train behavioral stuff. So now you're just a strong weakling. It's in the behavior. It's in the behavior. And you can see this emulated in, like, there's like old, kung fu masters that are like really unbecoming. They're not like super strong, but they have the right behavior. They'll destroy the muscular bodybuilders, because they'll brute force it. Muscular bodybuilders, and not all of them. Some of them are like really brilliant, have wonderful behavioral mechanisms. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't. They're very front plane oriented. They just do what's right in front of them. They literally they can't rotate more than this, and that's an issue. That manifests as a behavioral issue. Behavior has to come first, then the body. And it's like, to me, I'm like, they come at the same time in a lot of the ways. If you know how to train. How does someone go from being a projector to a generator manifester? So you're probably talking about either a composite or a cycle, like a return or something like that. If you're a projector, your body graph is going to stay as a projector. However, in terms of human design, one thing that I've really kind of like come to terms with is, like, you got to learn the rules before you can break the rules. And once you understand the purpose of your strategy, then you no longer are like, that's not the only button that you can push. And so, for instance, a projector can sort of harness the power of a manifesting generator by way of surrendering to their form, recognizing the impact that a not waiting for an invitation or not following your inner authority comes, doing that, and then eventually getting to the point where they can actually harness their creative energy while it's there. They can harness their manifesting channels while they're active, but not before then. Not before then. And the reason not before then is because it's like, if you have a child that learns how to run and walk before it learns to crawl, it's missing out on developmental pieces. And those are going to show up later in life as anxiety, as all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. You don't want to skip steps in the developmental process. And if you do, it's because you're learning from someone who skipped steps in the developmental process, and they're trying to, they're trying to normalize it by messing everyone else up, consciously or unconsciously. My dad used to say we teach our kids to walk and talk and then tell them to sit down and shut up, bro, for real. And what's wild too is that, yes, I get, we teach them to walk and talk. They will figure that out. Kids will figure that out on their own. They will figure out how to crawl. They'll figure out how to walk. They'll figure out what words to say. It's like the difference between, going to a university and being taught a bunch of things versus come joining the archive and learning a bunch of things. Some places are full of teachers, which is fine, but some places there's a lot to learn. And what I've discovered is that if there's too much teaching going on, very little learning happens. And where there's a lot of learning going on, the teaching is not conscious. It's not I'm the teacher and you're the student. It's wow, we're learning from each other. And personally for me, those are the best teachers that I've ever had, are ones that are willing to learn from me. Not because I'm the teacher or I'm smart, but because I'm receptive. And one of the things that a reflection I've got from my teachers is like, wow, you picked this up so fast, Marco. Why is that? I'm like, because I'm actually fucking listening to you. And most people that are paying for your teachings or help from you, there's the rooster, by the way. Like, they have an agenda. I'm genuinely just like curious. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. The best teacher knows they're a student as well. Yeah. And there's similar to reactive, responsive, reflexive. There's the learning phase where you know nothing about it. There's the adept phase where you know some things about it, but there's still things for you to learn. And then there's the master where it's like you don't have anything else to learn. You mastered everything. And the master at that stage, that's when you realize, oh, I got to go back to the student phase. My ego keeps me from listening, still does a bit. So one of the things about like listening is that you're probably talking too much. And it's not your ego that's keeping you from listening. It's your mouth opening up and you talking. Because the more you talk, the harder it becomes to listen. Is it rare to be a reflector? It's 1%. So yeah, it's pretty rare. There are things that are more rare though. Like if you're fully defined, like if you have all the centers defined in your body graph, that's more rare than a reflector. But it's not about rarity. It's about sort of like function and utility. Because one of the things that's even more rare than a reflector is a reflector that is manifesting their signature. One that knows how to, or has spent a lot of time embodying the level of patience and rhythm that a reflector needs in order to manifest their signature of surprise. Like, it's not something you can just do. Like, you don't just read a report and then next week you wait one, next lunar cycle, it's like you're manifesting surprise. Not that you can't, you can do it accidentally, but to do it intentionally as a reflector is takes a lot of time, and energy. Very new to this. I found human design and was excited that I'd have a plan, and then I found out I'm a reflector. Oh my God, I'm having a hard time releasing the anger. Yeah, I'm missing those skills. So Texas, I would say, and also for any reflectors that are feeling that way, I felt that way, and so I literally had to pave my own path. And there's a lot of things that get said about reflectors that, in my opinion, it's like about as useful as, if someone gives me a single straw of hay and everyone else has these big bales of hay. Like, I had to go find my own bales of hay, and none of the manifestors or generators, I felt like they were just regurgitating a lot of stuff. And so what I did, because I was raised as a martial artist, was I went back to the body. Apparently that's my base 3. I went back to the body and started to ask questions around, okay, what is actually going on when I respond? What is actually going on when I wait for an invitation? What is actually going on during an emotional wave? And in doing that, in discovering how I actually process the world, not because of a chart, but because of how it feels and the sensation, and then watching the mind's observation and the mind's trying to make sense of it, I conferred and I collaborated with my partner Pasha. He's my dearest brother, one of my greatest teachers and greatest students. We have that kind of relationship. And we basically are right now pioneering a system that we call sensory design. And it's a system because it's like myself and Pasha are the ones sort of like gathering people around it and sharing our findings on it. But it's literally your nervous system, your sensory system, your patterns, your movement, your human locomotion. It's weaving all of those things together and then using the verbiage and the language and the interpretations of the human design system to basically attach the mental framework that is human design to the physical body. Because most of Ra's teachings, even though they're not spiritual and they're mechanical, they're energetically mechanical, less so physically mechanical. And so the questions for, like, for instance, what workouts should a reflector do? Those are the questions that we're answering, and we're not answering them again. We're not teaching you how to do this. We're giving you opportunities to learn. We're saying do this and swallow and look up, and then what sensations arise? I had a strong emotional reaction during Reiki and was not sure what it meant, screaming and crying. You don't need to know what it meant. That's the thing, is like, people think they need to understand stuff in order to use it or in order for them to get better, but it's like, you have no idea how electricity works. No one knows how electricity works, and yet we're all using it in very advanced ways. We don't know how it works. Okay? We know how to use it, but we don't know how it works. And that's fine with electricity and smartphones and all that stuff. People don't know how the algorithms work, and yet their algorithms are programming them. So you don't actually need to know everything about the body or why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. You just need to be present for it. And oftentimes in those experiences, you will have a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, a lot of fear, things that normally have crushed you or driven you away, made you run away. You got really good at that. And that has then become your reaction when things are hard, when things are hot, when the pressure is on. This is why relationships, are so fickle nowadays. Is because if someone, for the ladies, it's like, if the guy's not over 6 foot and make $100,000 a year, he's worthless. Like, I'm not interested in him. For the guys, it's like, oh, if the girl is gonna complain about, my friends or anything like that, she's worthless. Break up. It's like, dude, when the pressure is on and the heat is on, that's an opportunity for you to grow. Change happens, but growth is a choice. And so part of what we're doing in the archive is boiling it down to the simple shit. The simple shit. And I'll do one right now. Smell your eyes up. Do this with me. Swallow. Smell. Cool stream of air. Blow out your mouth. Smell again. Swallow. Cool stream of air. Blow out your mouth. Do that as many times during this next 2 minutes as you can. On this next smell, drive your eyes into the top left corner. Do it without raising your eyebrows, and do it without turning your head to your left. Drive them up as though you're trying to, like, wrap your eyes around the back top corner of your head. This should be disorienting. There's going to be a little bit of discomfort. Smell, swallow, cool stream of air. That breathing pattern, regardless of, oh, does your belly go out, does your belly go in, don't worry about it. Just smell. What do you smell? Does it smell good? Do you like it? Is it an Swallow. Can you swallow? What happens? Does the swallow get all the way down? See what I'm saying here? There's more information in your body, in your sensation, in the sensation that you'll experience, than there is in me answering the question of whether or not you're doing it right. Smell, swallow, cool stream of air. And you don't care about how it looks, or if you're, like, being able to see clearly. Just drive your eyes into the top left corner of your vision. One more smell, one more swallow. On this cool stream of air, bring your eyes slowly back to center. See how smoothly you can do it. Next smell, we're going to go to the top right. Swallow. Cool stream of air. Hopefully some of you guys are doing this. And if you are commenting, I'm not seeing them because my peripheral vision is not that good. Although I would like it to be. I've only been doing this for 2 years, technically. Smell. Swallow. Cool stream of air. This is helping give you access to a part of yourself that has always been there but has never really been utilized. This is the peripheral part of yourself. For those of you that feel really stressed out, this is actual where actual rest exists, is in your side body, in your back body, in your peripheral vision. Because again, my face is still going forward, but my eyes are going to the side, up, and back. Smelling, giving me sensory information about the world around me, similar to seeing does with visual input. Smell is doing that with um, olfactory receptors and actual scents and smells, which is more strongly related to memory than visuals. That's why you might see something and be like, that's familiar, but when you smell something, it's like, that's that. Ooh, what was that? Smell. Swallow. Swallowing is the ability to get information, not just from your mouth into your stomach, but also from your eyes down into your celiac ganglia or your stomach or your pelvic floor. Is why maybe when you see someone or smell someone, there's a sensation down deep inside of you that's like, ooh, yeah, I like that. That's where the sacral response comes from. You get information either through the eyes or the nose, but you have to swallow it down into your body to get it. That's why sometimes, especially with non-sacral beings, sometimes you have to taste the thing before you realize you don't like the thing, because you have to swallow it into your body. Smell, swallow, cool stream of air, bring the eyes back to center. You can blink your eyes a bunch if you like, or do whatever feels good. Close your eyes, move the eyes around in a circle. And if you did that with me, I can guarantee your nervous system now is starting to chung, 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 chung. You're starting to relax. Because the reality is when you do that, it's like putting stress on your body. Unnecessary stress, maybe. Again, it's like why would you spend 20 years healing your eyes when you can just put these glasses on and have perfect vision? Well, because then I'm always going to need the glasses. Most of the reason people are super stressed out is because, or they can never relax, is because, and they're super stressed out, is that they're stressed out in one dimension. They're stressed out in this forward, 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 forward. So the forward, forward, forward gets really strong, but when it comes time to sidestep, you're like forward, forward, forward. Oh, I need to sidestep something. How do I do that? I'm not very good at it, so let me turn. Forward, 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 forward. Wait, I was supposed to be going that way. Felt like I'm working a muscle I didn't know I had. Exactly. That's exactly it. Same thing happens when you go barefoot and you start working out your feet without the support of shoes. This is great for people with anxiety, people that overthink, people that are depressed. Because again, there's so much going on around. Like you have enough oxygen, most people have enough food, most people have shelter. Who cares if it comes from your mom or your dad or your partner? You feel, how you say, like I can't do this for myself. Okay, one thing you can do is be grateful for what you have. Period. That's it. All you have is what you have. It's like a farmer being upset that he has, oh man, it just rains so much here. I can't grow any of the things that I want. What can you grow, motherfucker? What can you grow? Why are you not growing that? Oh, well, that's not as valuable of a crop. Who gives a damn? Grow it. Grow it. Or go somewhere where you can grow the crop that you want to grow. I liked it. It's a lot of perfection for Pomodoro breaks. Yes, exactly. Incorporate this into your life, guys. It's eye exercises, but according to the context that we teach it in human design, this is how you start to repressurize your head in ajna. The head center is a pressure center, meaning that that's where you experience the pressure to think, whether it's from you or from other people. Makes you aware of other people's problems and makes you aware of your own problems. Yes, I just came in for the first time. Welcome. You were called in. Exactly. And for the people that are here, it's because you're willing to put in the work Where other people are just gonna go to surgery, or they're gonna go to, a spiritual healer that's gonna somehow fix them, or they're gonna go to a doctor that's gonna give them a prescription that's gonna fix them. Like you can fix yourself. And it's way better to fix yourself, because it's not about being fixed. It's about the person that you have to become in order to reestablish these pathways. And so I'll give you guys another clue with this one. Smelling, swallowing, and tasting your air out of there that's like the skeleton key that opens all the doors. But if we're talking about the neck and the ability to get information into the body, experiment with swallowing in different orientations. One might be harder than the other. You might wonder, Marco, what does it mean? I say, I don't know. For me, it's not hard. And I'm not saying that to flex. I mean, I literally am flexing when I swallow. I'm saying that because I've done it enough. For me, it was really hard to look up and have a graceful swallow. And there's still more improvement that I can do. But really, what I'm saying is, don't ask me. Go there where it's hard, swallow more, swallow more, swallow more. Your mind might create something. It's not wrong or right, doesn't fucking matter. What matters is the mechanic of it and the behavior. Does it make you angry? Cool, be angry and swallow. Does it make you sad? Cool, be sad and swallow. Does it make you happy? Cool, be happy and swallow. I'm not your teacher. You got your teacher with you. It's your body. Remember to use it. I'm just the guy that's saying, hey, remember to use it. I get super cold feet and hands. Okay, great. So, hands, everything is fractalized in the body, starting with the face, hands, and the feet, even the ears. Everything is fractalized in the sense that all of your organs are going to show up. And you can look this up. You can look up charts on zone therapy and circulation. But essentially, poor circulation oftentimes has to do with improper pressure, particularly on the heart, which is the thing that is wanting to push blood through you. The heart and the calves. The calves are the heart of the lower body. When you step, just like in Dune, every time you step, every time you step, that creates a pump. It sends blood back up to your heart. And then your heart is also going to push blood through your system. One of the things that I want you to practice for the person that has the poor circulation is called a heart hug. This is one of my favorite exercises. All we're going to do is we're going to take our ribs, and instead of expanding them to the sides normally, like when someone says take a big deep breath and you fill your ribs up with air, what we're going to do is we're going to prevent your ribs from filling up with air and expanding outwards by using our arms kind of like as braces. If you can imagine, you're like in a really small hallway and you can't expand outward, and instead of expanding outward, we're going to intentionally expand inward. And so if you could imagine, my lungs are my hands and the head is the heart. When I expand inward, this is what's going to happen to the heart. Oh my God, what's going on? Most people's hearts are going to do that. It's like, I'm used to you guys going outward. I never hear you guys go inward, so I'll do it with you guys. Deep breath in, smell. Let your ribs expand like normal, swallow. Cool stream of air. Now hold your breath here. Use your arms like that hallway. Restrict the ability to expand outward. Now when you smell, expand your lungs inward and pressurize your heart. Put some pressure on your heart. Swallow. Cool stream of air. Do not, don't lose all that pressure, because now we're going to do it again. Smell. Pressurize the heart even more. Swallow. Cool stream of air. Don't lose the pressure on your heart. Smell one more time. Even more pressure on the heart. Swallow. Cool stream of air. Now slowly release the pressure. That was the sound of you unlocking a new skill. If that was your first time doing that, let me know in the chat. I work out by walking backwards to train myself on unnecessary stress so that I can be more balanced when unnecessary stress appears on its own. Exactly, Melissa, exactly. It allows me to access peripheral areas of my life. Exactly. That's Are you in the archive? It sounds like some archive talk over here. Is it common or rare to have all or most centers undefined? 1% of the world has all centers undefined. First time? Thank you. You're welcome. You guys like that? Interesting? What was interesting about it? Wow, the breath out is amazing. Yep, it was. So then, and then slowing that process down, I build. Learning to build more pressure, relating that to the hands and the feet. Like you can shove blood into your hands. You have to intend it. First time, it didn't feel great. Right. So Texas, let's talk about that, because what I did in the beginning where I did that, I was like, this is your lungs and my head is your hand. Oh my God, what's going on? Your organs don't know how to associate with each other. That's probably why running is painful, or when there's a lot going on. It's like, imagine your organs just bouncing around because they're not snugged up against each other. So there's a lot of how you say magic in being able to get your organs to associate with each other, but that magic at the beginning is going to be like, that's uncomfortable, that's weird, we don't like that, that's hard. And it's like when a baby is first learning to walk, you don't they probably are feeling like, this is hard, this sucks, but then they don't give up. And so that's the thing, is most people either run away or collapse under the pressure and heat that is just like bare minimum to survive. Because you think about it, it's like, if you don't have the right blood pressure, if your blood pressure is too low, that's a problem. Same thing as if your blood pressure is too high. And so what we want to do as human beings is we want to have variability. We want to be able to survive when the pressure is low. We want to be able to survive when the pressure is high. And this is actual thing, heart rate variability, although one of the more well-known metrics is like being able to go from dum 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 being able to go from fight or flight, sympathetic, what's right in front of you, to parasympathetic, to rest, relax, digest. You talking about calves made me think about POTUS. POTS? Oh, POTS? What do you mean by POTS? I don't know about the POTS. First, but not my last, it felt healthy and correct. Right. For me, it was like a good stretch after the release of pressure. Still feels that way. Yes. Yes, exactly. There's my horses. Everyone, behold my horses walking. Animals have great pressure. If you look at the mechanics of animals, especially roosters, the way that roosters will like use their head in their walk, it's like it's how you say, they never get an opportunity to like really be conditioned. I mean, aside from like domestication, there was this thing of like pugs. There's some guys like training pugs so that their faces are longer, because the reason pugs exist is because they kept mutating them and like pushing their noses in with each breeding. And anyway, horses, yeah. So postural orthostatic cardiac syndrome. I don't really know much about that. I mean, I can have a look though. Okay, I see. Condition where the heart rate increases significantly when the person stands up from a seated position, often accompanied by dizziness and fatigue, problem with the autonomic nervous system, which regulates heart rate, blood pressure. Bro, we can fix this. Or sis, we can fix this. 100% we can fix this. It's going to be challenging because a lot of the practices that we're going to have you do are going to put you in situations where you get dizzy, where you feel pressure, like low blood pressure. And the idea is that the way we're going to do this is we're going to send you into those spaces with self-soothing mechanisms like this. This is a really good self-soothing mechanism. That exercise we just did, if you feel panicky while you're doing it, something you can do right after or during is to just stroke up your neck like this with the backs of your fingers and just tell yourself, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Because again, they do crazy stuff, guys, in the world, and a lot of it doesn't get publicized, but some of the craziest placebo medicate or how you say studies that have been done, they will not release those studies. This is just my conspiracy theory. They won't release some of these because when people realize how much power they have with the mind, the entire Western medical system or majority of Western medical system falls apart. Because if you can be your own doctor, if you can treat your own blood pressure, if you can treat your own vertigo, if you can treat your own arthritis, if you can treat your own depression, anxiety, they can't sell you pills. And they want to be able to sell you pills. One thing a PT told me about my POTS was to flutter my feet to bring back blood to my brain. I would say even more so like rebounding, like how you say, and not rebounding with a trampoline, that might be intense, but even just like getting to the floor. Because the reason they say that, bringing blood back to your feet, and when it comes to circulation, is it's like things are supposed to be moving in your body. Like when your body is walking and moving, it's really, that's healthy as there's no way all the geniuses in the world have failed to find all these things. I'm listening to the pods that ask POTS persons to sit and imagine standing up. They felt faint. Like I'll do that to all, and it's funny because I'll actually induce POTS. Now that I think about it, I have an exercise that I do where I'll go on the floor and do like a really deep squat, and I'll pressurize myself. I'll try and make myself really, really, really small, and then I'll do a really intense vacuum, and I'll stand up, and I get a little bit dizzy. I actually do this when I'm pooping. Um, this is pooping for me because I poop squatting in the woods basically. And when I stand up, I get dizzy. But instead of thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me, I say, I'm safe, I'm fine, my body will take care of itself. And I just like I allow myself to just like kind of ride it out, and then I'm fine. And I understand some people are going to have how you say a harder time with doing that. And I've been doing that for a long time. But the most amazing thing about a human being is their ability to adapt and reorient to disorient stuff. To orient yourself in disoriented situations or times when you are disoriented, that is the superpower of a human being. It's the adaptability. My body loves the heart hugs. I feel present, calm, and grounded. Yes, Christy, that's what I'm talking about. Any exercise for healing the stomach? Similarly enough, a lot of people work on the abs, but if you work on the muscles underneath, it's abdominal pressure. You can take your hands like this, pinch into your body, inhale, push your fingers out, and then when you exhale, keep your fingers out. Normally when people exhale, they lose their pressure in their abdominals. Keep the pressure on. I unfortunately have Ehlers-Danlos comes with POTS. I don't know what that is either. A lot of these things as well. A lot of how you say diseases or diagnoses will come together because instead of actually treating the root problem of your POTS, which is the way that you transition posture and your ability to maintain pressure and heat during those transitions, instead of treating that, they're just like, oh, you're broken, we're going to help you deal with the symptoms, and then other shit develops. A group of inherited connective tissue disorders that affect the structure and function of collagen, the protein that gives the tissues to their strength. Got it. Results in symptoms from loose joints, stretchy skin, potentially life-threatening complications like blood vessels or organ rupture. Again, people would look at this and they would say like, oh, wow, that must suck. We are going to have to like medicate you or help you deal with the symptoms rather than like, let's strengthen you and reach, get to a point where your connective tissue actually is regenerating as opposed to just atrophizing. And again, it's, for me, they send me to PR. PR is great too. But a lot of the PR people, that's like, a lot of them are, it's just kind of like textbook PR. Some of them are great. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are great. But for a lot of those people, it's a job. And not to say that they can't do their job. But again, they're looking at the body separate from the spirit, and what we're doing, personal training. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought you meant. Per, um, Personal training, again, a lot of these guys are just like, it's like a mechanic. You take your car to a mechanic, they'll fix your car. But if you want them to make your car into, how you say, oops, sorry guys, got to verify that I'm not an NPC or something over here on TikTok. Like, if you want your car fixed, take it to a mechanic. If you want your car to be a flying carpet, you have to take it to a wizard. And there's not a lot of wizards. And wizards are not necessarily eager to fix people's cars and turn them into flying carpets. I'm more excited about you wanting to be a wizard as well. And in that case, you can welcome to my laboratory, and this is all the experiments that I'm doing. That's what the archive is, by the way, for whoever asked about it. Um, there's not a lot of information on the archive because it's a very how you say, it's a very, you kind of have to kind of come check it out and see for yourself. But what we do in the archive is we train your senses, so eye drills, tongue drills, ear drills, orientation drills, and then we train your physical body, teaching you how to hold pressure and heat in the body, and then we show you biomechanics, which is the most, optimal expression of movement. If you want to go forward, here's the best way to do it. If you want to go to side and then turn right, here's the best way to do it. If you want to do a backflip, here's the best way to do it. We don't have a course on backflips yet, but it's only $37 a month, or $333 for the entire year. So for like $100 more than a one-on-one session with me, you could get access to me via a community in a classroom. Almost probably now over 100 hours of coursework and material. Although really, like, your life will change if you just engage with the first 7 hours of coursework in the archive, just because of the clues that we can give you, the skeleton key. Everyone's got their own mansion, but they don't know where the key is. And the key is, I already told you, smell, swallow, taste. That's the first thing we do as babies. Before we're walking, before we're, texting our ex late at night, before we're binge eating junk food and Netflix, before we're doing any of that, we're smelling. Does this place smell nice? Did I shit myself? We're swallowing. Okay, cool. All my organs are nice and snug and in place. And then we're tasting. Does it taste good? That's why kids put everything in their mouth. That's how we figure out the world, is through our senses. And yet, like Steven's dad was saying, teach him to talk, teach him to walk, then tell him to sit down and shut up. It's like, even if you had good parents, quote unquote good parents, it's society as a whole that's doing this. They're cutting us off from a lot of things. They say wear shoes to protect your feet rather than walk around barefoot and get stronger feet. And of course, it's like, I'm not going to walk around San Francisco where there's a bunch of needles on the floor. I don't even go there anyway. Yeah, but I would say, my friend, with your pots and your stuff, give us 18 months. The reason I say give us 18 months is because I know that in doing these exercises, you'll experience some shifts within the first 90 days. But give us 18 months, and whatever medication, whatever it is you're doing, add this to that. Because like I was saying, it's like, you have a personal trainer, they're probably helping a lot, but they're not necessarily giving you access to the more non-physical, how you say, mystical parts of yourself that the archive could. And it's not even that it's like a spiritual, thing. There's no gods or nothing for you to believe in. It's literally just like, hey, we're gonna give you, um, again, permission and encouragement and support to move into this, like, exploration of your mansion and its uniqueness. Because the reality is no one comes in this world broken. Like I'm telling you, there's probably been times where you're feeling like, oh, I'm messed up. Why am I not like everybody else? No one is like everybody else. There's subtle things that make us different, and if you're born with autism or some kind of like connective tissue disorder or some kind of mental disorder, it's not because you're being punished. I don't believe that, at least. And you don't have to accept this belief, but it is very empowering because for whatever reason that you were born with a quote unquote disadvantage, it's in some way it's an advantage for you to develop in another way. Like for instance, I'll tell you a story about my buddy Luke. My buddy Luke owns 27 acres out here on Maui. I've been told by many people to go a natural path. I only take Redmond salt and allergy meds. Metallic Cat, come join the archive. I really feel like we can help you. My partner in the archive, Pasha, by the way, he's helped people avoid surgeries for scoliosis, people being in wheelchairs. He's helped so many different people. And so if you come in and you just follow the directions that we have there, introduce yourself to the community, you'll not only get a ton of support, but again, you'll get access to all of the coursework that we teach. And it's only $37 a month. So anyway, my buddy Luke, when he was young, he see I'm getting some for hip dyslapsis now. Yeah, there's like we gotta just like cinch you up, or you gotta cinch yourself back up. We can help. Anyway, my buddy Luke, he owns a farm out here where they do musical events, and one of the things about his events opposed to other people's events, the quality of his sound to the ridiculous how you say value of his sound system. It's a very, very powerful and articulate sound system, to the way that he balances the sound as like the sound engineer, to who he allows to play based off how they master their sound. Like if the sound isn't pristine and clear and clean, he is not going to have it at his event. And I didn't discover the reason for that. He didn't really even know the reason for it. And this was like a month ago that we discovered this. We were supposed to hang out, and he was like, I'm sorry, bro, I got to go to the hospital. And I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, my ear is discharging blood. And I was like, dude, what's going on? He told me that when he was younger, his eardrum ruptured, and they put a plastic one in there, and then like a decade later, they put a titanium one in there. And that any time there's really harsh frequencies, that will react. It will cause static in his ear, a lot of discomfort, and a lot of pain. And so I put the two pieces together when he was mixing a show last weekend. And I was like, how's your ear, bro? And he's like, it's good. If the sound quality is good, my ear doesn't give me problems. That's why I'm so obsessed with like the clean sound. And I was like, wow, bro, like you were really born with a quote unquote faulty eardrum because part of your destiny was to create a venue that caters only to pristine sound. I don't hear the static when I go to other shows where the sound is grimier and dirtier and messier. I don't hear the static. I don't. It's not as uncomfortable until the next day, until I'm waking up and my head's kind of pounding. My ears feel like they just got punched and manhandled. But so what I'm saying is that again, all of us are here to manifest something unique, something signature. And part of your challenges and trials are here to help you manifest that. Because if you didn't have these challenges, there's no way you could manifest the thing that you were here to manifest. So that's why I'm gonna say Metal Cat. And whether you accept the invitation or not, I pray for your healing, and I pray for you to surrender to this, at least for just 18 months with us in the archive. Surrender to this idea that you're here to manifest something incredibly unique, and that all of the health challenges that you have dealt with are in some way showing you the path. Whether it's helping other people who are also diagnosed with that, whether it's, whatever it is that it's there. I believe in crystals and yoga. Crystals and yoga are cool. I meant, and I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I'm trying not to sound like an asshole, but it's like crystals and yoga are only as powerful as they are able to like actually work with your sensory system and your nervous system and your connective tissue. They're incredibly healing, but when you actually understand the way that you get the geometries of a crystal into your body, like for instance, a lot of people, this is one of the crystals that I've had for a long time. A lot of people will do this exercise. They'll hold the crystal, they'll look at the crystal, look at all the shapes, and then they'll close their eyes and visualize the crystal. That helps them to hold visuals in their mind. But how about this? The exercise we did earlier. Use lock into your peripherals, see the crystal in your peripherals, start to move the crystal and orient the crystal in your peripherals, and start to absorb the crystal rather than focusing and looking at it like you would a smartphone through your peripherals. You wouldn't discover that if you were focused on getting the healing from the crystal. You know what I mean? That's why I have my crystals laid out. That's why it's nice to put crystals in altars, because you see them out of your peripheral vision. Sometimes you go and pray at them. Sometimes you're right in front of them. Sometimes you're seeing them in your peripherals, and they're doing stuff all the time. I do that with my finger. Yeah. I've been somatic things as well. Well, I'm grateful to have you in this live. And again, like I said, even if you decide not to join the archive and give our method a shot, I'm sure that we can continue to have great conversations. And again, I genuinely believe anything can be healed. But you got to have the right mindset. You got to have the right support. You got to have the right body. I'm curious. It's in your profile. I'm a 3-5 reflector on the cross of rulership, with a lot of gates in my throat. We'd say that. So sad for SF. When I was a kid, it was a rare place that looked just like it did in the movies. There's parts of San Francisco that are so beautiful. But my buddy took me to, I forget what it's called, the very like, uh, the very degenerate zone, and it's sad. It's scary. Jacob, what's up, homie? Someone in the chat hit the theme of allergies. You think though working with identity and blood itself could help with the allergies? Just came to my mind as an interesting topic. Or do you have any opinions on that, dude? Jacob, what do you have allergies? What allergies do you have? One of the ways that I've seen people work through allergies, and even like allergies to like foods and stuff like that, is with like microdoses of it. Microdoses of it, in the sense that like I have a buddy who's allergic to like peanuts, almonds. They're called the dirty five. Was it not cashews? Peanuts, almonds. No, cashews. Peanuts, almonds, cashews. Those are three. He's allergic to five of them. But he will like sometimes he'll just eat a little bit of it, because again it's a way of just exposing yourself to it, because one of the things that your body responds to is your panic. Like if you eat something and it's like, oh my god, oh no 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 no. And I would imagine if like you had two people that had the same allergies and the same response to the same food, eat the food, one was like, then you told them, one was like, oh my god, I can't believe I ate that, I probably need to go to the hospital. The other's like, no, I'm good, it's okay, I've done this before. A lot of that has to do, again, it's like exposure how you say, exposure therapy. You expose yourself to the thing that you're allergic to, that you're afraid of, etc., in small doses, in safe doses, safe doses, very very small. Even just the smell of it, or the, it's part of the it's an alt on your altar or something like that. That's one way. And then also to enhance it, like if you open up your sinuses more, if you create more pressure and heat in your body, if you make the tensile strength of your body stronger. I can't necessarily say, and this might be a good question for Pasha, regarding allergies, which we have class today in an hour, and feel free to bring it through there. But I would say, again, there's nothing that this doesn't help with, because there's no, in my mind, this is the way it works. In my mind, the body suffers from shit. And if you make the body inherently stronger, more robust, that makes it healthier, that makes it better at dealing with the shit that happens to it. So anyway, I'm allergic to cats. Oh, so get some cat hair, put it on your altar, and like start to engage with it in ways, and like almost like I would say just like induce some of your symptoms, but do it in a way where it's like, again, very light. You say you were allergic? Oh, I was just thinking. I got it. I just said you was. I was like, dang, you're already on the mental flow. Let's go. What really bad sinuses I've been temporarily leaving with nasal spray. So, again, nothing wrong with nasal spray. Sometimes you might need it, but your sinuses. My stomach just growled so loud. It was great. Your ability to open up your sinuses, get width and depth. Like we have training for this in the archive. And a lot of the before and after pictures that get posted in the archive, which if you want to see some of those in the archive, they're wild. They're absolutely wild. I'm talking about like people's faces growing deeper, their jaws getting more defined. Some of the wildest stuff we're seeing in the archive. A lot of them is the sinuses getting bigger and opening up more. Because one of the reasons this something isn't big is because it doesn't feel safe. It's like this is a lot already. You want me to take more, so you need to soothe yourself while you make yourself bigger. That is, it's called a membrane solution, but it's basic. I just got it on Island. Someone was selling it, and it's basically the same thing though. Charcoal filters. Berkey is the goat. There's a lot of other good companies nowadays too. Do you have many 2-4 hermit off opportunists? Do you have many? As in, like, do I have many in my life, or so? Oh, I'm like, I'm free of allergies, but my partner has a lot of them. Okay, and it's mainly manifesting on her skin. Like one of is her rats, and she owns one for the exposure therapy. So yeah, she's been through a lot in her life. So that's the stuff I'd like to bring to her one day into the archive workouts. Kind of like I know it has the power to change your life, dude, Jacob. So especially with your partner, and it's I know you're young. How old's your partner? I imagine she's like the similar age of you. But what I'm saying is like there's a lot of really cool ways that you can turn sensory design drills into tantric drills, which are tantra is essentially if you reduce tantra down, it's the study of energy, but primarily it's the energy of getting like sexual energy to rise up into the higher centers. It's called sublimation. And so a lot of the like pressurizing pushing down to go up, pushing up to go down. A lot of the pressurizing drills that we do are awakening this rising of energy, and it's essentially it's getting you to go beyond the sort of just like immediate physical sexual gratification. One of the fun things that you can do with your partner just to like kind of start introducing it, and in tantra this is something that they teach, is called eye gazing. And so you literally just will sit across from each other and just look into each other's eyes. It's very uncomfortable at first. It's like one of those things that's just like, what are we supposed to do now? Like your mind just goes crazy. But after a while, if you can actually get through like 2 to 3 minutes of it, there's this beautiful sort of like sharing of energy that happens. But one of the ways that you can introduce sensory design to her, if she's open to it, yeah, you want to do something weird together? Yeah, let's check this out. You lock the eyes, and then you go, and then it's like you see who laughs first, but the goal is to not be the one that laughs. And then by doing this you can like deepen your relationship with them, and you can yeah, you can just like, it's a great way to just like deepen a connection with someone. And because one of the thing about sensory design is like, as we always say, it's like it's you and your body. You're not going to be able to convince anyone to do anything with you. However, there's a lot of magic in inviting someone to practice and train with you as a way of deepening your relationship. So that's give that a shot. Let me know how that goes. I love Berkey. I live in my RV, but never seen one so complex. Is that really complex? Oh, I know about. So I have this. This is just a stand. So this is a stand. It's got amethyst crystals in it. My buddy Nico Suave gave this to me, and then this is just sitting on the stand. And then you put water in here, and it filters down, and it collects in there. So that's not that cool. I mean, it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool, but it's not necessarily like that cool. You know what I mean? But anyway, Jacob, yeah, definitely got to give that a shot. That'll be fun. And also it'll make the intimacy greater, because it's like one of the things about relationships that young people don't understand is that when you are intimate with someone, whether it's kissing or cuddling or even just like sharing things, or more stuff, you're inviting somebody's energy into your body. And if you are very reactive to things coming into your field, new stuff, etc., of course, inviting a new person's energy, and even if you want to invite them in, your nervous system is still going to respond the way that it responds to everything, which is either reactive, responsive, or reflexive. And what you will learn, because you're training into, you're in the responding stage now, bro. You know, you're not in this, like, some parts of you are probably still reactive. We all have parts of us that are reactive, but you're more so in the responsive state. So what you might discover is that you want to be closer to this person, or maybe you're like, we don't actually work out. So tantra is great because or these kinds of exercises are great because they emulate tantra, but it's not necessarily, again, tantra seems to be about like sex, and but it's really about intimacy. It's really about getting these base level sexual desires to move up into the higher frequencies. I've been sneezing pretty good. I haven't needed any meds unlike the 7 years. Yeah, let's go. 17s, 19. Let's go, Jacob, with the older ladies. Let's go, my brother. Not sure if anyone would drill, but should be working. Oh, yeah. Spilled insolence over there on YouTube. Are you in the archive? I'm sorry. I know sometimes you guys will tune in from YouTube or TikTok and stuff like that, but it's good you've been doing the drills. You haven't needed any meds, dude. That's so great. And sneezing is like sneezing, yawning. There's all these, again, reflexive responses that it's like sneezing is to like unclog your pathways. Yawning is the opposite of sneezing. Instead of like, oh, it's a oh, it's a big in breath more so than an out breath. So the exercises that we're talking about, Sam, are they're called sensory design drills, which is a fusion of sensory mechanics and biomechanics with human design. Basically, we're using human design like a map to start exploring the physical body using sensory training. Integral, like harmonizing the organs, so getting the organs to pressurize and learn how to associate with each other and communicate back and forth, so that way your pelvic floor is able to talk to your digastrics, your heart is able to talk to your lungs, your eyes are able to talk to your nose, your ears are able to talk to your mouth and your feet, creating all this whole web of uh, of sensation, just like you see in nature. Just like you see in nature, it's like you might have a tree over there and another tree over there, but through the mycelium in the ground, through the networks that are established in especially undeveloped and just wild areas, they're talking, they're sharing resources, they're all harmoniously existing. They're not competing. They're in a state of harmony. It might seem like competition to us who want to make everything me versus you, us versus them, etc. Which is not, we're not bad or anything like that, but it's just like there's so much to learn from the natural world. And as babies, we're developing that, but as we get older, we stop developing that. And so this is just redeveloping. It's redeveloping. You say the things that were supposed to be developed as children, as adults. Other Steve. Oh, gotcha. Hell yeah. So you're off your allergy meds? Is that what it is? Yeah, because like now it's like, sneezing is not like a, oh, like, uh-oh, something's going on. It's like, hey, your body can do this for you. You don't need allergy meds when you can just sneeze powerfully and just get stuff out of your face. But that's awesome. I gotta remember that. Ear wiggle. Yeah, bro. It's so funny. Like watching people's ears develop has been one of my favorite things. Because there's people who come in with ears that are like this, like kind of like raisins, like shriveled up and dry. Not trying to be mean again, just like that's just how it is. And then 28 days later, and it's like they got elf ears, and I'm like, bro, let's go. Nature is a community of subjects, not objects objectifying. Straight up. And like you're right, the condition that we have today as human beings is like this is the ultimate test of free will, because if we're given this ability to choose between naturalizing ourselves and learning from nature and benefiting from nature and going into the like the AI realm and all that stuff, it's like, which one are you gonna choose? I know what I'm choosing. And we're looking to find the other people that like want to actually have the choice, because the reality is most people are not going to be given the choice. The choice is there, but they're not given the choice. They're not given the choice to strengthen their immune system by strengthening their senses and their locomotion and their running and training. They're not given that choice. It's there, but they can't see it. And I don't want to blame them for not being able to see it, but once you see it, you're like, oh shit. Most people are like, oh God, oh my God. It's like in the Matrix. When you get unplugged from the Matrix, you can go back in, but not like you were before. And once you start doing this kind of training, it unplugs you in a different way. It's not the same as like doing what my boy Michael is doing and like traveling the country on horseback. But it's dare I say it's one of the things that is definitely bringing some of that essence into your life. Reviving nature's presence in your life, so that the Prince of Darkness, through all of the technology that just like locks us and sucks us into this world of stimulation, cheap dopamine, doesn't completely take over you. Like if you're addicted to your phone and at night you're up scrolling, most people say, "Oh, you have to learn how to put your phone down." I'm like, "Look, I get that this is a gradient. How about we do this instead?" And if you're a late night scroller when you should be sleeping, instead of just late night scrolling, turn your head to the side and look at your phone like this. Late night scroll like that. Late night scroll like this. Smell, swallow, blow cool streams of air. Why? That's not like fixing the problem. No, it's not really fixing the problem, but at least you're getting something in there. And I know that more people will be like, oh, I can late night scroll if I do this. I'm not saying that's okay. That's not the goal. That's just the journey of where you're going. Again, you have to crawl before you can walk. You have to walk before you can run. Otherwise, you're missing developmental stages. And wherever you're at, whatever the scrolling is doing for you, it's like protecting you from something, protecting you from some truth, but probably something that you don't actually need protection from, that you're a lot stronger than you actually are. So I have fun with this shit. Hell yeah, dude. So do a lot of open center people have seizures? Oh, too overstimulated. I wouldn't necessarily say that open-centered people have seizures, although I could definitely see people being overstimulated. And like for instance, when your body is shaking, it's because it's like it doesn't know what to do, and it's like trying to make sense of it. Like if you watch a gazelle, the few seconds after it's chased by a lioness, it's like it's trying to figure out where safety is again. And so in doing that, sometimes you don't know. But a lot of people will think it's a problem when it's actually your body just regulating itself. Sensory design is a huge level of accountability for me to get out of the head. Works so good. Michael, love you, my friend. This guy, by the way, if anyone isn't familiar with Michael Ridge, literally a nomad. Like I was a van nomad. This guy is a horse nomad. Like he's got horses and a super cute little donkey, and they just like travel. He knows what to eat. He just like nature is his teacher. And he's in here doing some of these drills because again, it's like we live in the society that we live in, right? There's we live in a world of mind. We live in a world of illusion and Maya. Say, if it's not wildflowers and ponies, I don't want to play. I love it, man. Um, we live in this world of Maya and illusion and AI and stuff like that. And what is becoming so abundantly clear to me, again, just like the Matrix, is like you can unplug yourself, but we can't destroy the Matrix because there's so many people plugged into it. We could do a lot of destructive things, but in my world, the thing that's actually going to create change and revolution is if we, through living our own lives, through deepening and surrendering to the form, which is what human design promises, surrender to the form, in surrendering to the body and the natural ways that our body have developed or failed to develop, we can show the world that there actually isn't it. We can present that, you can present that choice to people. Again, the choice is always there, but not a lot of people see it. Your presence will be the, what about this? I got off my allergy meds. I fixed my connective tissue disorder. I fixed my scoliosis. I didn't need surgery. You can be the embodiments of what happens when you choose the form, when you choose natural order and natural chaos. So I love your videos on pausing with the IG posts. Swallow. Oh yes. Oh yes. Those are my sacral calibrations. And that was actually taught to me by my partner, Pasha, who is the other instructor in the archive. And he's a sacral generator, emotional authority. And I would literally go to him and be like, hey, do you want to come to this party? And he goes, I don't know, like throw some other things at me. And I was like, all right, are you comfortable right now? And he's like, mm-hmm. Are you hungry? And he's like, mm-mm. I'm like, you want to go to this party? He's like, mm-mm. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to go. How far is it? 30 minutes? And so it was fun because that is the result of a reflector and a generator having differences in what they want to do. I wanted him to come to the party. He didn't have energy to come to the party. And so I didn't force him. And then the next time I asked him, and he's like, I have energy. He came to the party. We had a great time. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go. And I was like, already? And he's like, dude, you don't want me here if I don't want to be here. And I'm like, oh my God. Have I been living this like, I want people to do things and I can manipulate them to do things? Like, oh my God. He goes, you don't want me here if I don't want to be here. And I don't want to manipulate myself to give you what you want, because then I won't want to be around you because I have to manipulate myself. That's where the sacral calibrations came from. I've been able to do the wiggle since I can remember. I needed OTC for the itchy, watery eyes because they'd swell up. I've gotten itchy, but I've been letting the sneezes be intense. Yes. It's like you could like really mess yourself up if you have a sneeze that you try to suppress. It's good stuff over here. You see, the issue is many people are too distracted with materialism rather than the inner healing. Yeah, or it's that's not even the thing is materialism, because the world and nature is they're materials. It's the like what Michael was saying is the objectifying of it. This tree gives me shade and fruit, and that's it. Science tells us, if we look closer and more deeply, that this tree is not only giving us shade and fruit, but it's also nutrifying the soil. It's also creating scaffolding for mycelium. It's also breaking up the hard ground. Like, there's so many more things happening with primarily like the natural the natural things in the world that we can't see, or you won't see at first glance. You have to look a lot closer, spend more time with it. Community of subjects. I love that. As an emotional authority, is there a quick check-in if I'm on my way before doing the swallow, check-in with the sacral? Yes. And these are some more of the things that I'm discovering. Now, for me, or rather, let's start with human design. So in human design, the solar plexus is like right here. But in the body, the solar plexus is really more like right here. It's the intersection of like your heart and your lungs and your diaphragm and your digestion. It's kind of like this area here. Really, it extends from here to here. But what you want to do to pulse your emotional authority is tune into the pressure here. Now, if you don't have a sense of what's regular for you, this is going to be more challenging. And so the goal for you would really be to figure out what is my, like for instance, resting heartbeat. I'm pulsing mine. Mine's pretty regular. But there's times when it's lower than normal, or when you lower than average, and times when it's higher than average. But the idea is that if the heat in this area is higher or lower than your baseline, which is what you could call that, the average or the regular or the normal for you, If the pressure or heat is higher or lower than your baseline, you're probably in an emotional wave. And it's because your solar plexus, or these parts of you that are creating these chambers of alchemy, they're busy doing that. And it's like, if you're in the middle of an experiment, like let's say you're making an experiment, like you want um, a romance, right, Christy? Let's just say you want a romance. Um, while you are taking the information from the way they treat you, from the way you feel when they are in your life, to the way you not feel, to etc., to the memories, all of this stuff is like, it's like, you can imagine like boiling in a pot. And the emotional wave says that, hey, let this boil, let this process happen. You can't make any decisions yet. You don't have any clarity. And I'm a 3-5, so I'm all for like, hey, look, instead of like holding somebody away from you, I'm like, hey, date them for 28 days and see how it goes. You kind of have to be a, how you say, a pretty savage with your own inner authority to do this method. Because otherwise I would say push it away until you're clear that you want to date them. But once you get like savage, once you have a baseline of pressure and heat in your body, and you can actually feel, oh, I'm extra hot or I'm extra cold, I'm extra pressurized, I'm not very pressurized in this moment, then you can start to navigate based off of that inner authority, as your inner authority. Because that's what emotional authority is. It's like, how hot is the cauldron? How cold is it? And temperature is just a measure of energy. Pressure is also a measure of either compression or the lack of compression, closeness or lack of closeness. So really what you're doing with the emotional authority is you're protecting that alchemical response. And so it's less like, am I in an emotional wave? And it's like, what is the pressure and heat like in here? Because that is usually what happens. Or that is the physiological response of an emotional wave, is the pressure and the heat, or the lack of pressure and lack of heat. Then you can also cross-reference that with your sacral. Have someone ask you questions. Do you feel emotional about this? Do you feel emotional about that? Do you feel emotional about that? That may oftentimes work better for people with defined sacrals. However, everyone has sacral energy in their system. So you can still check in with it, even if it's inconsistent. Because what could happen with that instance, like for instance, if you have an undefined sacral but a defined emotional center, your sort of formula or thing would be to help identify whose sacral energy, like for instance, wants the experiment to be over so they can get an answer, or whose sacral energy wants the experiment to keep going so that there is no answer ever. This is where you get a lot of, like, narcissists coming in, and they're overloading you with all this mental stuff, because really for them, they don't want you to have an answer. So they're going to keep adding to it. Or they need an answer right now, and so they're going to extend your process unintentionally, because they're like trying to force an answer out of you. So again, the mental world of am I an emotional wave is very it's meta. We could talk about it all day. The sensory world of it is very simple. Do you have a baseline? If you don't have a baseline, first thing is figuring out your baseline, which the way you figure out your baseline is you find the threshold. How relaxed can I get? How much pressure and intensity and heat can I get? At what point do I start running away? At what point do I start falling asleep or going unconscious? And again, the archive, we teach all this stuff. Or rather, you can learn all this stuff about your body through some of the breadcrumbs and clues that we share in the archive. And that's a great question. Also, another test you can do is like, is it easy to swallow? Some things are harder to swallow than others. Bring it into your mind. What part of your vision? Is it right in front of you? Is it to your side? Does it feel like it's behind you? Look at it, swallow. Because again, from here to here, it's the solar plexus, really. Is everything working properly? Sometimes it's like you can't even tell if you're in an emotional wave because you have no sense of these different diaphragms in the body. And then that's the work. Because the mind, again, can just, kind of like I am right now. But I do have to hop off here, guys. I got to get ready for this sensory design class that we're doing here in a little bit. Bro, can you answer these These deems, these deems. I'm sorry, I haven't seen any of your comments. What is your question? I will answer your question before I go. I use a multi-streamer, so I think probably the Twitch ones don't come through that good. Maybe there's just a whole world of Twitch that I'm missing out on, huh? I love this information. Thank you. Baba the Bengal Tiger. That's a great name. Thanks for tuning in with me for tea time. I do have to go soon though, so D's Dems, hit me with that question. It's better on, probably the response rate might be a little bit better on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, by the way. If you do want to tune in, I'm sorry. I already have like 4 windows open for just being able to stream, but yeah, you're welcome, my friend. Cheers. Optimus, let's go. All right, these teams. Hopefully, I'll catch you again. I go live, by the way, for those of you that are new, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So if you're feeling like you want to tune in, tune in. All of this stuff gets saved onto YouTube in my streams, and I think probably Twitch as well. But you can find all of my lives on YouTube or Twitch. Everything that I'm doing is to just get people to realize the power of their bodies and the magic that's inside them if they are willing to just move through some of the initial discomfort, confusion, and doubt around this system sensory design. The archive is a $37 a month membership, so it's cheaper than most gyms. Or you can do $333 for the entire year, which brings the price down to like, I think like 20 something dollars a month, which again is cheaper than most stuff. Like, let go of your Netflix and your HBO Max subscription for a month. Come check out the archive, start training this way, incorporate it into all of the things that you love, like Pilates and yoga and weightlifting and calisthenics and sports and whatever. And doom scrolling. Don't forget the doom scrolling. Learn how to incorporate into all of that, and give it a month. You actually have to do it though, of course. It's not like you just buy it and it's just like a magic. Like, the magic bullet only works if you pull the trigger. So if you're feeling it, pull the trigger. Thanks. I'm in the archive. Yes. Oh, love that. What if I focus on my solar plexus and swallow? If I'm on a wave, my swallow might be harder or impossible. Yes, but sometimes it's like there's just like a different sensation. Like we're looking for how you say variations of normal. We're looking for variations of normal. So some it might be the swallow might be extra smooth, and you're like, whoa, hold on a second. Am I on an emotional high about this? Because decisions made in emotional highs are just as bad as decisions that are made in emotional lows. And it's because they're not fully integrated to the system yet. It's not that they're inherently bad, they just haven't been integrated into the rest of the system. That's why part of the emotional strategy is to push decisions away until clarity is achieved sensationally. Then that can become mental clarity. Then you make the decision. So yes and no. Disclaimer about the archive: it can be maddening because you'll want answers, and we might have clues, and all we're going to do is just give you the clues. We don't actually have the answers that your body, but we can coax it out. We can do our best to coax it out. So anyway, the difference between a teacher and a guru, real quick: teacher tells you what to learn and how to think. A guru gives you all the ways not to learn and not to think, to the point where you get pissed off and actually figure it out yourself. And we kind of need both. And the archive is kind of both. But anyway, come join the archive. If you want one-on-ones, you want a report, you want the best damn neutrino, the best damn human design app out there, Neutrino Design, you want books on all of this stuff, all that stuff is available in the link in my bio, or just go to reikimarco.com. You can join the archive from there as well, and like everything I just listed off, all of those resources are available. And I will be live, not next Monday. My mom is in town, so I'm going to spend some time with my mom. But probably next week is going to be Wednesday, Friday. We will be live again. And thank you for everyone that was participating here, for all of my humans and all of my humans in transition to being more human. Thank you for being here. Much love to you. If you're not already following, make sure you guys follow so we can stay in the loop together. And I will see you next Wednesday or on the For You page or something like that. Much love, guys. Catch you later. Yeah, and I'll see all you archive people in 20 minutes on the archive. Peace.